single related action. Okay, so it is why single related action. That means suppose you are say you are writing a program of calculator. Okay, then and if you are having four different functions, add, subtract, multiply and divide, then uh, for every specific operation or for calculation, different method or different function will be. Okay, so functions, they provide better modularity for your application and a high degree of code reusing. Modularity, can you explain me what do you mean by that? Modularity means no, that is not modularity. When you say function provides better modularity, which means there are you can have multiple modules. Okay, you can have a bigger program divided into multiple modules, and then you can rearrange modules. You can add new modules. You can subtract existing modules according to your requirement. Okay, so instead of writing everything in main method or in main program and then afterwards making changes into the main program, you can have a smaller modules so that it becomes easier to arrange those modules. Got it? The got the meaning of term modularity? Yes, everyone. And a high degree of code reusing. Obviously, we have seen that we can call one function into another function instead of writing the same piece of code again and again. Okay, so if initially you are, say, designing a form for classroom purpose, and later on you have to design a form for, say, college purpose, then you will reuse the same code of form generation. Hence, your function provides you a high degree of code reusing. So, as you already know, Python gives you many built-in functions like print function, but you can also create your own functions. These functions are called as user-defined functions, right? So, if a user is creating his own function, giving his own name to the function, deciding whether it should be a void function or a fruitful function, deciding number of parameters, which type of data should be passed in those functions. Such functions will be called as user-defined functions. Okay, so how will you define a function in Python? So you can define functions to provide the required functionality. So here are some rules to define a function in Python. So function blocks, they begin with keyword def followed by the function name and parentheses. Okay, we have already seen this. Any input parameter or argument, they should be placed with these parentheses. You can also define parameters inside these parentheses. Okay. The first statement of a function can be optional statement, the documentation string of the function or docstring. Now docstring it gives you information regarding the function. Okay, so suppose you are creating a function. Say, okay, now you have this particular function def printwise, right? So this is your function header or function definition. Okay, now suppose you have this add method with two parameters a and b. Okay, this is your header d with df keyword function name, number of arguments, okay, type of argument, and then colon. Okay, after this on the next line, if you are writing this function adds two values. Okay, so the first line immediately after your function header, it is called as doc string, which is also called as documentation string. Now this particular statement, it is always commented, and it gives you additional information regarding. Basically, you can decide over here now if any new user is uh, seeing the code, or any if you are if you are giving your code to some new developer, then they should know why you have created a particular function, what is a purpose of particular function, and because of which you need these things. So it is an optional statement. We never write, or rather, we never use this doc string. So the code block within every function, it starts with a colon and it is indented. The statement return expression exits a function, optionally passing back an expression to the caller. A return statement with no argument is the same as return none. Okay. Now this function, it is not returning anything, right? So this is a void function. Okay. We can modify this void function into a fruitful function. We can simply write returns. Okay, just check out the syntax. You have a def keyword along with function name, into bracket function docstring, which gives you the additional information regarding function. Then you have function suit, and then function suit, which is nothing but function body, and then you will have return statement. Okay, so if you don't want to write function docstring, it is perfectly justifiable. Okay, because it is an optional statement. If you don't want to write function body, you can directly write pass over there. If you don't want to return anything, then it will not return anything. Okay, Sakshi, do you have any doubt?
No, ma'am, by mistake.
Okay. So over here, okay. So if suppose this is your function, you are not writing this doc string. Suppose you don't want to write anything, then what you can do? You can simply write pass over here, and this will also work. Okay. So all the three things such as function docstring, function suit, return, all the three things they are optional depending upon the user's requirement. Now by default parameters have a positional behavior, and you need to inform them in the same order that they were defined. Okay, which means that if suppose over here you are calling add function, which you are passing is set from 5. Okay, then at the receiving end also you have to accept the arguments in the same order, otherwise it will conflict. Okay, now in our case what is happening, we are simply defining a and b. So a and b, they can take any value from integer to string to float. Okay, so it will not have any kind of problem. Okay, next is calling a function. Now defining a function only gives it a name, specifies the parameters that are to be included in the function, and structures the blocks of code. Once the basic structure of function is finalized, you can execute it by calling it from another function or directly from Python prompt. Okay, so once you define the function, either you can call it into another function, or else you can call it in Python prompt. Okay, we have seen both the methods, so I am not repeating. Now just check out this particular example. You have print me function, so you will write def print me str colon print str and return. Okay, so over here, even though you don't write return keyword, then also it will work since you are printing str value at the beginning itself. Okay. Then we say this code will run this file, and now we will copy this print me. So a function will be called with the string I am first shell. We will define function. If I hit enter, I will get the same string. Okay. Now similarly, print name will be called again with another string, and that will also work. Now you might be thinking that why am I teaching the same thing again and again? Because recently you get used to how to define a function, how to pass the arguments, how to call a function, okay? What precautions you should take. Okay, it is beneficial for you, and since it is introductory part, I am very to say that at least even if anyone of you has missed a lecture, then the person will have an idea. Okay. Now the next type is anonymous functions. Okay, this is something new which we haven't seen in your reference book. Now these functions, they are called as anonymous because are not declared in standard manner by using PHP. And anonymous means something which doesn't have a proper name, right? So these functions, they are called anonymous because they are declared in the standard manner by using DEF keyword. You can use lambda keyword to create small anonymous functions. Okay, so instead of using DEF keyword, we will use keyword lambda. We are going to see how we can create anonymous functions. Okay, before that you should know what is the use of lambda and how can we create anonymous functions. So lambda forms, they can take number of arguments, it returns just one value in the form of expression. Okay, so no matter the number of arguments that you are passing, say it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, but it will return your answer in one single value. They cannot contain commands or multiple expressions, right? So basically lambda functions are single and simple one-line statements which are used to define the functions. An anonymous function, it cannot be a direct call print because lambda requires an expression. Lambda functions, they have their own local namespace and cannot access variables other than those in their parameter list and those in the global namespace. Okay, so whatever parameters they will be using, they have to create their local parameters, and then they have to use them. They cannot make use of global namespace or global parameters. Okay. Although it appears that lambdas are one-line version of a function, they are not equivalent to inline statements in C or C++, whose purpose is by passing functions stack allocation during invocation for performance reasons. Okay, so inline functions in C++, but they are different than inline functions in C++. Okay, so the syntax of lambda functions contains only a single statement which is as follows. now this is how you are going to create lambda function. You have to use keyword lambda. Okay, now since it is square bracket, okay, so in which you have to pass number of arguments, colon followed by expression. Okay, so this is how a lambda function will be created. Suppose we are copying this. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to use lambda keyword arg1 comma arg2, which will be your local arguments or parameters, colon okay, so function name, arguments, colon, after colon you will write the operation which your function is supposed to perform. Now this function, it is accepting two arguments, but it is returning you a single value which is stored in some variable. Okay, so now if you are following the value of total colon some function into which the arguments are 10 comma 20. We will get the answer as 30. Okay. Similarly, you can calling it again, and also it will give you the answer. Okay. Got it how lambda function works? Just check out this particular code. Okay, is it clear how a lambda function should be created? It is nothing but function name equal to lambda keyword, then local arguments, colon followed by give expression. Okay, so it is in one single line you are defining the function, you are accepting the parameters, and then the expressions. Understood? Yes. Now we will see how return statement works with function or normal function or regular function. So the statement return and expression. So either you can use return or else you can use return variable. Exits a function optionally passing back an expression to the caller. A return statement with no argument is the same as return none. Right? So over here we have some function. So we have def function, def values. Okay, it will calculate the total. It will print the total. Return the total. Now this is caller. It will be given to total variable, which will be given to value. Okay, we will just check how this code works. Understood? So now over here this prompt will be caller. Okay, you have taken one variable total. It is calling some function. It is calling some function with number of arguments, two number of arguments. Right? So value 10 will be given to ARG1, value 20 will be given to ARG2, addition will be calculated and the sum is stored in total variable. Now this total variable is a local variable. Inside the function you will get the answer as 30. Right? It is returning a value. It is returning 30 value. Now this 30 it will be stored, or rather it will be accepted by this total variable, which is the global variable, because it is returning value. Over here there should be two variables which should accept that value. Okay, and hence you are printing total and then also it will give you the same thing. Okay, is it clear how return statement works? Understood everyone? Yes, okay, see. Now what we will do, we will just change the variables so that it will come. Okay, this is your function. You have used create keyword with function name and number of arguments. You have two arguments, ARG1 comma ARG2. Okay. Now you have one variable which is going to add these two variables. Inside the function you will print the value. Okay, and also you are returning their addition value. Okay. Now this variable, which is total one, will accept the value thrown by some function. Hence even outside the function you will get the value. So while running the program, whenever you will say that total 1 equal to sum 10 comma 20. Okay, we will hit enter. The function will be called, but this variable it is nowhere printed. Hence, if we are writing this statement, then it will print. Got it now? See, because of okay, did you get my error? Because of Word norms or Word Microsoft Word rules, I had this total variable value as P capital, because of which it was not working. Whenever when I made this correction, it started working. Okay. Now, is it clear to everyone how your return statement works? Yes. Next is scope of variables. So we have seen already what are local and global variables. So all variables in a program, they may not be accessible at all locations in that program. This depends on where you have declared a variable. Okay. So over here you have this total one variable, which is a global variable. Okay, but these variables arg1 comma arg2 comma total, these are declared inside this function, so these are local variables. Okay, so this depends on where you have declared a variable. So the scope of a variable, it determines the portion of the program where you can access a particular identifier. There are two basic scopes of variables in Python: local and global variables. So variables that are defined inside a function body, they have local scope, and those defined outside, they have global scope. Okay, which means that local variables, they can be accessed only inside the function in which they are declared, whereas global variables can be accessed throughout the program body by all functions. The global variables, basically they are accessed function also and inside the function also. So when you call a function, the variables declared inside it are broad scope. Okay, next is arguments. So information, it can be passed into function as arguments. Arguments, they are specified after function name inside the param. Add as many arguments as you want. Just separate them with comma. The following example has a function with one argument f name. When the function is called, we pass along a first name which is used inside the function to print full name. Okay, so we will you have defined one function name is my function, argument is fn. Okay, you will save this code, you will run this code. After that, you are calling the same function with three different parameters. Okay, surname you have kept common, so the same surname they will get. So it is the best example that you can say that function is used for reusability, because we are calling the same method with different parameters, and then also it is giving us different results depending upon the requirement. Now sometimes you may want a common value, okay, which will be your default parameter value. Okay, so we will just check out one example. That following example, it shows how to use a default parameter value. If we call the function without argument, it uses default value. Okay, so over here, if we are calling a function, just take out this third statement. We are calling a function without any argument, then it will take the default argument. If you are explicitly passing an argument, then it will take the argument sent by the user. Okay, so this is your code. Def my function country equal to Norway, print I am from country. Now this country equal to Norway, this is country is default argument, and Norway it is a default. Saving this code, I am running this code. Now I will call a function with parameter Sweden. Okay, you will get the answer with user specified value. If I am sending argument as India, it will print I am from India. If I am not passing any kind of argument, then now over here it will take the default value, which is Norway. Okay, in the fourth example, again if you are changing the argument, it will take the latest argument given by the user. Okay, so user defined argument value, it has the higher priority over default argument. Okay, up till now everything is clear to everyone? Yes, anybody has got any doubt? Any doubt? If you have, just let me know so that we can repeat. Okay, so we will stop it over here. You can leave. Thank you so much.